page 22. Yes. We are adding fractions, and they do have the same denominator. That's a good thing. So 8/18 plus 6/18. We're going to keep the denominator and add the numerators, and then reduce to lowest terms. So 2 is going to work to reduce this one down to 7/9. And since both of these answers are here, I'm going to say go with the lowest terms. That would be my recommendation, even though 14/18 is there and is an answer. So I'm not sure about that. 7/16 and 9/16 keep the common denominator, add the numerators, and 16/16 is equivalent to 1. Again, both answers are there, but I would go with the simplified one. 1/2 and 1/4. This one's not quite as straightforward because we do not have common denominators, but I'm going to use the 4. 4 into 4 is 1, 1 times 1 is 1, 2 into 4 is 2, and 2 times 1 is 2. And when you add those together with the common denominator, you get 3/4. 5/18 and 2/12. If you know your common denominator, use it. If you don't, here's how I would show you to find it. You want to list both of your denominators and start with the smaller one. 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 12 times 3 is 36. And I think we've found good luck there. 18 times 1, is 18. 18 times 2 is 36. And as soon as you find a common one, that's the one to go with. So 36 is a common denominator. Happens to be the lowest common denominator for 18 and 12. Now you could reduce those fractions and use a different one. I'll show you that in just a second. 18 into 36 goes 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. 12 into 36 goes 3 times, and 3 times 2 is 6. So that gives me 16/36. Reduce that by 4. And that's 4/9. Now let me show you another way to do this. I'll tell you what, let me move this over here. And then I'll show you how you could do this as well. Your fractions are 5/18, which will not simplify. 2/12 will simplify by 2 down to 1/6. And then you could get the common denominator for 5/18 and 1/6, which would be 18. That one wouldn't change. 6 into 18 is 3, and 3 times 1 is 3. And that would give you 8/18. And if you simplify that by 2, you would get 4/9. So that is a way to do that problem as well. It just depends on what you prefer. All right, number 55. We have 25 over 64. We have 9 over 32. And we have 10 over 64. And we're adding these. So if the 64 would work for this 32, we're home free. And it will. 32 into 64 is 2, and 2 9s are 18. And then these will not change. They're already in terms of 64ths. So once you get all of those put together, you can add them up. I'm going to do it right here just so you can see what I'm doing. I take the numerators and add those together. And that ends up being 53 over that common denominator of 64. So I like C for that one. And I'm going to change colors just so this doesn't all run together. 4/6, I cannot say that word, sorry, minus 1/6 is 3/6. And we reduce that by 3 to get 1/2. So lowest terms is 1/2. And then 4 over 6 minus 1 over 12. I know that 12 is going to work here. 6 into 12 is 2, and 2 4s are 8. Minus 1/12 here leaves me with 7/12 as my final answer. Two-thirds minus 2/3. This one's the easiest one on the page. That's nothing. If you take away all that you had, it's 0. 2/3 minus 16/32. And it may be tempting to think the 16/32 is the bigger number, but it isn't. So we're going to need to get a common denominator. And you know what? I think I'm going to go the other route on this one. Let's take 16/32 to lowest terms. A 4 would reduce that. So would an 8. So would a 16. 16 divided into itself is 1, and into 32 is half. So instead of 16/32 right here, I didn't mean to erase all that, I'm going to substitute that 1/2 here. And then my common denominator, lowest one, would be a 6. 3 into 6 is 2, and 2 2s are 4. 2 into 36 is, 2 into 6 is 3, and 3 1s are 3. 4 take away 3 is 1, so the answer we're looking for is 1/6. I think that's the easiest way to solve that problem. If you do it the way I learned it, and you do common denominators, let me go ahead and do it for you. You've got 2/3 minus 16/32. So we're going to have to find a common denominator for 32 and 3. And that's going to be tough to do. One way to do it, and this is what I would have done in school, is 32 times 3. You know, if you multiply those two together, you're going to get a common denominator. And I think that might actually be the lowest one. I'm not sure, but I think it might be. We'll know in a second. 3 into 96 is 32, and 32 times 2 is 64. 32 into 96 is 3, and 3 times 16 is 48. And if you subtract those, do it right here. I would hope to have a calculator on this one. I'm lazy now. It used to be that I did everything without a calculator. And that would not have been lowest terms. Or, I'm sorry, that would not have been the lowest common denominator, I don't think. And then we're going to divide by 16. That's going to be 1 and 6. So either way, you get the 1/6. Just depends on which way you want to do it. I like the first way, the black problem, because that's a lot less thinking for me to do. All right, number 60. We need to take 1/2, subtract 1/4, and then subtract 4 64ths. So this is a lot of subtraction going on here. And I think I'm going to use that shortcut. Go ahead and take this to lowest terms to get 1 over 16. And then bring that one back in here. Substitute it back in. And that will let me use 16 as my common denominator instead of 64, which you could use if you want to do that. So this one won't change. 4 into 16 goes 4 times. 2 into 16 goes 8 times. So we're left with 8 minus 4 minus 1. And that's going to be 3. So you're ultimately left with 3 over 16. So I like C for that one. A 3.5 foot pipe has a 3 1/4 foot pipe fitted to it. How long is the extended pipe? So this is building up. This is going to be addition. 3 1/2 plus 3 1/4. This is not the way I would do it. I'll show you the way I would do it. But let's do it the right way first. 2 into 4 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. You have 3 and 3. So I get 6 3/4. The way I would do it is like this. 3 1/2 plus 3 1/4 is 6.75, and then convert it back to a decimal. You always have that option if the fractions are ones that you recognize. If Enrique saws 8 1/4 inches off of a board that is 20 1/4 inches long, the length of the remaining board will be blank. So we're starting with 20 1/4, and we're sawing off 8 1/4. A fourth minus a fourth is 0. And 20 minus 8 is 12. So you would have 12 inches of board left. If Tayshawn saws 8 1/16 inches off a board that is 20 1/4 inches long, the length of the remaining board will be blank. 20 1/4 minus 8 1/16. So I'm going to use 16 as my common denominator. 4 into 16 is 4. 1 times 4 is 4. So that's going to be 3/16 as my fraction and 12 as my whole number. So D is the correct answer. If 8.5 inches are sawed off a board that is 20.25 inches long, the length of the remaining board is blank. 20.25 minus 8.5. 4 is my LCD, lowest common denominator, and that's going to be 2 and 1. So this one's a little bit more of a challenge. We've got the common denominator, but the bottom number's bigger, so we have to borrow. So I will make this become 19, and the one that I borrowed, I'm going to write it as 4/4. So those get combined into 5/4. 5/4 minus 2/4 is 3/4, and 11. That is not the way I would have done this one. Here's what I would do. 20.25 minus 8.5 is 11.75, or 11 3/4.